Yes, silence the phones. Hello, everybody. We are live today. It is the day that our King Jesus Christ paid the indescribable death, and there's not enough words that can describe that. He became poor so we can be rich, and that's one way that we can enforce that victory. He wants his kids to be victorious, and I have a special guest on with me today, and we are going to introduce him. I'm going to get him on the screen right now.
What's up, Brett? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, Darrel, we got to meet, and it was really fortunate we got to meet at Region Bank's corporate headquarters with Sean Copeland, and I'm really excited about your book. I got the book right here, Micro Obedience for Macro Impact. I happen to be in the field of economics, so I was already attracted to it, and I really got to get into it with Noah. I've been working on my project, my arc, and that's been really helpful. But can you please share a little bit about your new book, and what do you want the audience to know about it?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brett, for all that you're doing for God's kingdom in the realm of economics and business. I appreciate you and the audience that you serve. Thank you. You're doing God's work, brother. So I appreciate you for this platform.
Yeah, thank you.
So, for everyone here, my name is Darrel Frater. I'm the author of Micro Obedience, Macro Impact. It's a book that speaks about how small acts of obedience lead to large impact in God's kingdom and the world. A lot of times we think it takes these really big, grandiose things to honor and serve God, but there are so many opportunities that are small and micro to say yes and surrender to the Lord Jesus Christ to be able to unlock huge impact in God's kingdom in the world. And this book challenges you to one, to be able to discern and see those opportunities in real time, and then to say yes and operate in obedience to move forward in those actions that can transform other people's lives, that can transform your life and have impact not just in the world today, but in eternity. And I really think that by having a word of encouragement to step in obedience, you're able to move forward in your God given purpose. The Lord has given us all talents, He's given us all skills and passion. And it's our duty to say yes to that calling, to be able to have impact in the realm and the places and impact the people that the Lord wants us to impact. There are so many people that we are designed and are accounted for to bring into the family of faith. And when you say no to the micro and small things that the Lord asks you to do, you're actually missing the opportunity to bring someone into the family of faith to make disciples. So I want to get people to understand how these small things connect to their heavenly purpose, and for you to be encouraged, to be empowered to walk in confidence in what the Lord Jesus Christ is doing in your life, and to be bold about doing the small things that matter in God's kingdom. This can be as simple as saying an encouraging word to a stranger or donating to a ministry. It doesn't have to be the huge, grandiose things. A lot of people think, oh, it's all about this huge missions trip or starting this business or running for president. Take a step back and realize that God wants you to say yes in the small things. And if you are a good steward of the small things, it unlocks the opportunity for the large things to happen in your life and in the world. So that's the intro, Brett. I'm happy to dive deeper into any particular parts, but I use context from my life as well as context from the Bible to be able to prove how micro obedience leads to macro impact. And as you mentioned, I talk about the story of Noah, how Noah was given a task by the Lord to build this huge ark. And some scholars even think that there was never even a drop of rain. It hadn't rained until the flood happened. So if you can imagine or have empathy in where Noah was in his life, around having to build something for a purpose that no one knew about the problem that was at hand. If you really think about that, it hadn't rained yet. Why would he build something that there's never been a use case for? And this same thing happens in our lives today, where the Lord wants you to build a business or he wants you to build a family. He wants you to do things today where there's no reason for that thing to exist today, but there's something coming that he wants you to be prepared for. But it takes obedience today to be prepared to what's coming tomorrow. So that's why I included the story of Noah in the book. And for each of the 12 chapters that we have in the book, we share a story from the Bible that exemplifies different acts of obedience and that leads to large impact in God's kingdom.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Darrel. It's not overwhelming. He wrote it, concisely. He is a master's in business administration. He has a venture capital, the Good News Ventures, so TGN Ventures. So he is very sophisticated, but he makes it simple and concise, and it has a real rich meaning. I know when I wrote my book, I dedicated it to my dad too, who is overcoming Parkinson's disease, and he was a hero for me. And it was one of the ways I was build up that 1 Corinthians 13 love, to believe all things, endure all things, hope all things. And he has a great connection with his father in that book. And he actually is donating all the proceeds to this book to where, Dale, where are you donating all the proceeds to your book?
Yes. So my wife and I last year, the Lord led us to launch a nonprofit organization called the Center for Faith and Business. And the Center for Faith and Business is an organization that's dedicated to serving entrepreneurs and helping business owners to see their business as a vehicle for impact, teaching them how to love their neighbors by loving their employees, loving their customers, and loving their community. Because we think that the Bible is the best book for business. It creates the amazing opportunity to serve people and to showcase the love of Christ through our businesses. And the Center for Faith and Businesses, we equip entrepreneurs to be able to do so through offering capital, connections, resources, and community. And we do it here in my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the goal to actually expand across the country and even the world to serve entrepreneurs and help them see their business as a vehicle for impact and the spread of the gospel. So yeah, all proceeds from the book. And I'll tell a little story, if you don't mind, Brett, around how I came about to offer this book as a first fruit offering to the Center for Faith and Business. You talked about having a relationship with your father. My father is a huge inspiration as well to me. And when he started his business way back in his teens, he's an immigrant from Jamaica and he learned a skill building with his hands. He actually learned carpentry and he came to America. He actually built a furniture business. And with his furniture shop, he made these beautiful set of chairs and as his first product that he created. And the Lord gave him instructions to offer those chairs to the local church as a first fruit offering. And when my book came out 3 weeks ago, I was excited. The box came in, I had 50 copies that I was ready to sell. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon me and told me that I needed to do the same as my father and to offer this book as a first fruit offering. So all the proceeds from the book goes to the Center for Faith and Business to move forth the gospel through business and entrepreneurs. So thank you so much, Brett, for asking. I'm excited to be able to do that so far. And it's funny, when I got that box of 50 books, I was like, wow, like how am I even going to sell 50 books? I was actually like nervous about selling books as my first book. And I was really, baffled by how I would be able to sell 50 books. And the Lord showed out in a mighty way. It's been 3 weeks and we've already sold over 210 copies of Micro Obedience, Macro Impact. And it's just been incredible how the Lord has been working through this book and touching people in a mighty way. And as I said, all the proceeds go to the nonprofit, the Center for Faith and Business. And that's over $4,000 that have gone to a nonprofit to push forth the work of using business as a vehicle for the spread of the gospel. So I'm encouraged, I'm excited, and I would love for anyone that would love to support the book and the nonprofit to do so. One thing that the Lord has told me is that I do not want finances to ever be a barrier for someone to get a gospel message. So we also do have access to the book for free, available online on Google Books. So if you want free access, we also have that as well. But if you want a physical copy or a copy to support the Center for Faith and Business, you can either go to our website or on Amazon to purchase it, or you can go straight to buildwithfaith.org, which is the link to our nonprofit's website. And you can donate to our nonprofit, the Center for Faith and Business, at buildwithfaith.org. So thank you. Super excited.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about another faith project. We're talking about getting Jesus at the table with economics, the social science of economics. And we got a project of helping Nigeria. And we got academic knowledge. We're going to make it fun. We're going to make it simple. We're going to go into a PowerPoint. And then we get to share an update of what we're doing here at Economics Incorporated with Nigeria, Africa. So I got this PowerPoint here. Are you able to see it, Darrel?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So we got 12 objectives. I'm a registered inventor, and we were going to focus on macroeconomics, behavior economics, labor productivity rates. What? No, it's not that hard. No, GDP, gross domestic product, the total goods and services, right? And then we're going to focus just on labor productivity rates in this discussion. So that's the amount of output we're able to increase. That's our key performance areas at our job. That's the products and services we're able to produce as a business owner, but without increasing our labor hours. So it's the output divided by labor hours. That's one way to calculate labor productivity. And we improve that. How do we improve that? We improve that with the brain, improving the brain abilities. How do we do that? We do that with King Solomon's brain cognition skills, made alive and active for us today. Many of you know that he's a real person. He had tariffs. He collected taxes. He had so much silver that was like in the streets, it says. So, I mean, he does have some credibility to say on the topic of cognitive science. And then I want people to get intellectual property. I was able to get intellectual property from this invention and this book and this training. It's an online course, and I want others to do it too, so we can advance the kingdom. And then in this case, it'd be 12 economic objectives. So we're going to focus on Nigeria right now. And here we help this guy right here. We help him limit systemic losses in production and increase taxable income. So the government can only spend about what they give in, right? So it's in their best interest to limit systemic losses in production and increase their taxable income through increasing their labor productivity rates. How do we do that? Increasing their brain abilities. All right, so here's my macroeconomics. It was awarded copyright certificates for superior macroeconomic policies for financial assessments, individuals, families, and governments. Is it possible for families and individuals and governments to have a shared code of conduct and get along? And yes, it is, and then still contribute to maximum GDP. So here we have the expenditure method. Now, this is known as one of the most reliable and baselines to assess a state or a nation's economy. And we have C for consumption, that's the spending of the citizens. We have investment, that's investing in productive assets like machinery and equipment. We have government expenditures, that can be anything from infrastructure to staff. And then we have exports minus imports. And that's going to give us the expenditure. It's a guideline to assess GDP. If you're saying, well, I'm not an economic, well, just hang on. It's good for us to know about GDP. It's good for us to know about it. And it's all going to make sense of how you personally can advance your brain abilities. And then that's going to improve your labor productivity rates. And then you're going to add to this. In Nigeria, Africa, we're focusing there, but it applies everywhere because it's based off of laws. All right, so this is the definitions. We can go over this later. Now, how important is GDP? Well, According to Professor Moss, he's at Harvard, the expenditure method has emerged as the standard approach for calculating GDP in most countries. Since every piece of output must eventually be purchased in one way or another, the logic of the expenditure method is that if a government adds all its expenditures on final goods and services, then that sum must exactly equal the total value of national output produced. All right, and then it goes into those categories. So now, after the program, so let's just talk about Nigeria, Africa. More people advance their brain cognition skills with P8 cognitive reasoning. It's Proverbs 8 cognitive reasoning right here. Now, what happens? And then they're going to have professional codes of conduct, PC. So BC stands for brain cognition skills. PC stands for professional codes of conduct. And that's what we're adding to this GDP calculation to rise output. And in fact, if people don't apply these, then they are subtracting from their maximum economic potential. It's just by laws, just like gravity. So here we go. We got brain cognition skills right here, and we got professional codes of conduct, and then we got the markets. They go up and down, and what's a constant factor to increase output and labor productivity, right, during market volatility. And so these are a constant factor. Now, as a brief overview, we're going to go over brain cognition skills. Now, it involves thought configurations, computations within reasoning and knowing, and then cognition includes perception and judgment. Conscious and unconscious processes by which knowledge is accumulated. So in the last days, God said he was going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. And one of the attributes of his spirit is the spirit of knowledge. It is the spirit of counsel. It is the spirit of wisdom. It is Hakma wisdom. Is there a baseline for a wisdom that's superior? The world has a wisdom. The natural mind has a wisdom. The Bible also has a wisdom. It's called Hakma wisdom. It's a Hebrew word. It has to do with skill, administration, technical knowledge, competing. And so that's what we focus on. And then we have processes such as perceiving, recognizing, conceiving, and reasoning. Even got diagrams. So let's go on to professional practices and codes. The term professional practices and codes means applying knowledge and skills with understanding and good judgment. This is going to be a real simple definition. I do want you to get an invention that's better than mine. I want you to get more copyrights better than mine, but this is just standard because we want to reach all different economic levels and all different education levels. So it's a set of instructions for the brain computing factors in order to perform skillfully. So we know that before we execute our codes of conduct at work, that it's going to be a thought configuration. It's going to then become a computation within the brain, and then we execute it, whether in words. Darrel, you want to share some more about how you're doing best practices? You take your thought configurations, you take your brain compass, you put it in TGN Ventures.
Yeah, I would say that it all stems from just letting the Holy Spirit guide you in your direction. When you have knowledge of Christ, you're able to operate in wisdom. You're able to operate with discernment on how you can serve others. And I think that when you see business as a vehicle for service, financial return becomes an abundant byproduct. So this is all aligned with using your gifts, using your skill, using a process to create maximized output. So that way we can all have productivity and all create prosperity for our countries, for our communities, for our families, and for individually ourselves. So I love this framework that you've put out. And I think that it's super important for us to understand the macroeconomics so that way we can also operate in the microeconomics of how we can contribute to our society.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to get a superior range of economic measurements. And what is it going to be measured in? Well, we have before and after assessments right here. Before and after assessments in the back of the book. It's on the online course. You can take it. That proves the validity of these claims. So health statuses, labor productivity rates, learning curve, disposable income assets, and the expense to income ratio. And those are things we got to get better at, right? So here are some significant 14 economic factors that would be deemed as, a priority, right? That a government or a state would want to monitor. We got inflation, high or low. We got deflation, high or low. We got interest rates, high or low. And these are constantly fluctuating, right? We got consumer spending, legislation, quantitative easing, government spending, export to import ratio. the amount of capital invested into productive assets, recession, depression, war. So we got a lot of different volatility going on. And then if people apply these two factors, it's going to constantly rise, and it's going to help governments limit systemic losses in production, and it's going to protect the church. Why is it so important to protect the church? Well, we'll go into a little bit more, but uh, it's coming up. But it protects the code of conduct that the church produces for a nation and for their government. All right, so here is there a baseline, for thinking? Well, here's one of them. We have a few of them. Well, so let's look at God has to say about it. And all you're getting, does it say get money? No. And all you're getting, does it say get hope? No. And all you're getting, it says get understanding. So I don't know about you there, but I constantly ask God for understanding. I need to understand, Lord. What do you want me to do today? You know, um, and then I need to understand how to accomplish the goal, right? And then so once we have understanding, then God says, okay, I'm going to give you knowledge. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He'll pour out more knowledge to you. Now, he can give you knowledge that doesn't come from a book, doesn't come from a conversation, a podcast, a YouTube video. It doesn't come from a social media post. God's going to give you that knowledge. God gave Darrel a lot of this knowledge and me a lot of this knowledge. And then we had constantly got to get better at step 3. Summate the effects of decisions before they're acted upon. I know it sounds simple, but that's what we got to do. And then if we continually prove at 1 through 3, let's look what Proverbs has to say about it. This is King Solomon. He's an authority on this. He says, does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? So he's talking about an audible frequency that's crying out, right? This is a matter of physics. She takes her stand on top of the high hill beside the way where the paths meet. So this is on the high hill. You can look at it like it sees all the possibilities, probability. It has the view. Why do leaders make so much, good decisions? That's one way. And then beside the way where the paths meet. So that's cause and effect, where the paths meet, right? And so then it says that, well, if you apply this understanding, if you apply this wisdom, right, it's talking about here, the Hakma wisdom, the Proverbs 8, it's crying out, it's an actual frequency, it transmits in the brain, it gets in our thought configurations, the data, the codes, the procedures, the intel, the useful information gets in our thought configuration, it becomes a computation, right? And then we put it into a code of action, and then what does it say? It says, my fruit is better than gold. What? Yes, than gold, fine gold, and revenue than choice silver. Now, what is better than gold and choice silver? Well, there's a few different things, but one of them is output. So one of the reasons why our currency here in America is so valuable is because of our output. We're not backed by the petrodollar anymore. We're not backed by gold. It's our output. So you look at that and you say, wow, man, that's interesting. I can increase my output. Yeah, it says in Proverbs, consider these riddles, these enigmas. Darrel, any comments on this?
Yeah, I think that it's incredible just how we can use his wisdom to understand how the Lord wants us to operate in this economic for the kingdom. There's so many things that we chase after in the world, money, status, fame, etc. But in the kingdom, none of this stuff matters. The Lord is more concerned with your heart posture than what your pockets look like in terms of your wealth. The Lord really wants your heart, not your treasure, not your resources. And when you think about these things and how you can use your treasure, use your wealth to glorify God through your giving, through your actions, through the way that you steward wealth, you can use your capital and your resources as a vehicle for the spread of the gospel, because the Great Commission is to make disciples of all nations. And when you're aligning your works, your life, your stewardship of your resources to making disciples, you are in alignment with the God of the universe. And we serve a God that never fails. And if you are aligned with his will, guess what? You never fail either. So this area is super aligned with how the Bible looks at stewardship and economics. And I think this is a good practice for you to understand just how this framework is a cycle of wealth generation as well as prosperity and impact in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So then we have, what are the properties in this brain scale, Proverbs 8? You're saying, well, what's in it for me? Why am I listening to that? We get this book. Micro Obedience for Macro Impact. You get the book, PA Cognitive Reasoning. Well, look at this, complex understandings. So counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. So we just read how important it is to get understanding, right? So we need advanced understandings, right? So part of advancing our brain cognition skills is complex understandings. Counsel is mine, sound wisdom. I am understanding. It has master craftsman attributes. It says in Proverbs 8:30 that I was beside him as the master craftsman. So this is an intel. This is a thought computer. This is an intelligence that we have access to. We can lead people with proficiency. By me, kings reign and rulers decree justice. So that's Proverbs 8:15. You may not be a king, but you can rule and govern, guard, and guide a certain domain, and you can increase that domain. Well, what about conceiving factors and data within thought configurations that are relevant and expedient to our objectives? So there's a lot of information, but we want something that's expedient. So I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and I find out knowledge and discretion. Uh, you and I and Darrel, we constantly have to find out the pertinent, the most useful information at the time, and that's going to help us. And then we got some more. Riches and honor are with me. We got enduring riches. So that's able to withstand high and low income. On a personal level, sometimes our expenses are higher, sometimes our income is higher, right? But if we stay according to these thought configurations, these computations, we're going to have more of these properties. So you could use the term promises, but we use the term properties. Why? Because it's about science. It's about God created the science. In fact, it says in James 1:5, and let any of you lack wisdom, let them ask of God, right? And if you look up that term wisdom, it's Sophia in the Greek. And what does that word mean? Well, one of the definitions in the Greek is scientific logic, scientific logic. So this is what we're helping people with. And then we have computing unquantified number of variables and possibilities, the top, right? We want the top perspective, right? And then the enigmatic phrase, where the paths meet, best practices, techniques, right? So why is this so important? Well, we're on a movement. We're taking a stand, and we want you to take a stand with us. Why are we taking a stand? Because it's not right for 12 million Christians to be displaced since 2009. 2009, 12,000 Christians. What does it mean, displaced? It means that they are forced from where they live, their job, their family, and they're forced into poverty. 12 million. And 17 Christians are killed for their faith every day in Nigeria. I mean, what? I know you may be desensitized, but no, think about it. They're just getting killed for their Christian faith. So why are we saying this? Because we are helping this government of Nigeria, and we're going to say, hey, look, you know what? These are terrible systemic losses in production, right? And you need the Christians to not only increase labor productivity rates, but you got to stop this. So we're going to get the military and the police to stop it. It was so bad that our president sent our troops, our money, our resources, the precious lives over to Nigeria to stop this. All right. So here's some updates on Nigeria. I get my sources from Equipping the Persecuted. They're on the ground there. And then the American Center of Law and Justice. And why are we helping them? Well, because we're raising up people in Nigeria so that they will have more power and advance in PA cognitive reasoning as they take the online course, and then they're going to be able to stop it. All right. Now, we got a lot of different things. I'm going to run through these slides because we're running short on time. Darrel, how are we doing on time with you?
I actually only have a few minutes left.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to run through these slides real quick, and then we can talk more about them later. But we do actually have 12 macro objectives that tie to that GDP to calculation, which is part of this movement. We invite you to take a stand today with us. Get involved. You can join our free challenge, and we get free content. And we're moving in Nigeria, free content for you people in Nigeria. And then you can take our course as well. And we want to equip you. But here we go. This man cried out to the Lord. This guy got the picture. I mean, this is so heart moving, right? And so just like in the book of Judges, they cried out to the Lord and he raised up people. So if you're listening to this right now, God is going to be raising up you. All right. All right, so here we go. We got the Christian congregations. We got the 10 macro objectives. Now, these have nothing to do with the Christian church. Governments have these already on their objectives, their initiative. Okay, we got to stop these. These are objectives. We got to stop poverty. There's some of the poverty. This is what we help stop, right? We help increase gross domestic product. We help increase vocational performance. Number 5. Education, number 5. This is education to help with those results. This is what the government already has, regardless if they're going to serve Jesus or not. They need help with this. So we come alongside and we help them with these 10 economic objectives, right? Mental substance abuse, welfare and Medicaid, stopping abortion, sexually transmitted diseases and infections. And it shows the cost in there, and the foster care. We prevent those actions, crimes and incarceration. So just in this brief overview, you could see that, yeah, man, this is imperative. And these codes of conduct are imperative for a nation and a government. The government will be on his shoulders, not Isaiah 9:6, and we are the body of Christ. So it's time for us to rise up. And Darrel, I know you got to leave. You want to close us with anything?
Hallelujah, man. You're preaching, brother. Thank you for everything that you do to serve and share your wisdom and gifts of economic. I think that there's an incredible opportunity for people to see a move of God in the work that you're doing. Thank you for your education. You're a teacher, and teachers are exalted high in the kingdom of heaven. So thank you so much for what you're doing. And so many people here that are listening and are able to get this message. Listen to what Brett is saying, understand how economics play a role in your God given purpose, be a good steward of your resources, and participate in God's plan to make disciples, for Him to be known by you and to be known by others. Thank you so much for having me here. If you guys want to connect with me, my name is Darrel Frater. I'm the author of Micro Obedience, Macro Impact. We'd love to connect. And if you want a copy of my book, we have offering for free copies digitally, as well as if you want a physical copy, you can just Google it and you can find it on Amazon. But I would love to connect. I would love to stay in touch. And thank you, Brett, for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Darrel.
God bless you, brother. Take care, everyone.
Bless you, brother. All right. So that's our good friend Darrel. I'm going to continue because we got so much to do. So if you're interested and you want to know more, you can go to economics.solutions, economics.solutions. You can sign up for a course. Courses are very affordable. And you can also sign up for our free challenge in the Facebook group. There'll be a free and a paid option in the Facebook group. And when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked man rules, the people groan. So God is raising me and you up today. And one of the ways He's doing it is improving our brain cognition skills, improving our best practices and codes of conduct. And I look forward to connecting with you. And I will be on Facebook more often. And we are going to get those properties in Proverbs 8. By me, kings reign, and rulers decree justice. Bye-bye.